Happy Friday, Kennedy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dr. Irvin?
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Same here, Dr. Irvin. I'm so glad it's Friday. Thank you,
Yeah,
God.
yeah, definitely.
No, yes. Well, once we do, I hope you told Mr. Peters happy birthday yesterday. It was his birthday, Irvin Law family. So make sure y'all tell him happy belated birthday in the chat. Um, One thing that I did want to get started with is actually some breaking news. I literally just saw it. So this past Tuesday, it was JSU football day at the Capitol. So I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was really good. But now, I don't know if you heard, but Deion Sanders is hosting a pro day for all Mississippi colleges at
Mm-hmm.
Jackson State University on
Yep.
March 21st.
Yes, that's a positive development. We need eyes on our players so they can get the opportunities they deserve.
Yes, and it's with I want to say it's with Mississippi College, Mississippi Valley, all corners. So a lot of players that's gonna be here. It's gonna be March 21st. So that's definitely good. Now, Dr. Irvin, we're always talking about football and ways to also I don't want to say well generate more funds and making sure that you were saying how the football budget is bigger. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think this pro day? Do you know if they were like even though it just happened, but do you know if they think they will make some money off of this or maybe add to their budget or is really just for benefiting the
No,
players?
usually not. It's for the benefit of the players. It's something that mostly all Power Five schools have a pro day where the school
Mm,
does highlights and puts their players in the best light. The difference is we're a smaller school, FCS instead of FBS, and not Power Five, certainly. So what Coach Sanders is doing is trying to use his platform to get other small school players an opportunity to be seen. For
uh,
instance, um, LSU does their pro day, and
mm,
they call it NFL LSU. Uh, because they usually put so many players into the pros. Well, they have certain outfits set up for the players. They've got the
mm,
shoes, the t-shirts, the video for social media. They chronicle their whole day so that they can get more exposure, get more eyes on. I'm not sure what Coach Sanders' approach will be, but I know it's a positive because
okay.
we have players at Jackson State that should have been picked for the combine. So the
Mm,
combine in Indianapolis is the big ticket that you want, but they
okay.
only give out so many. And so pro days are the next step where they come to you to see those players. Some don't work out at the combine because of injury or their agents have advised them to only go there for interviews and to talk to executives, and so they'll schedule time to throw or run or lift weights for scouts at their school.
Okay, okay.
Um, and let's say a player goes to the combine and they have a bad time, they usually make that time up uh,
At the pro day?
at the pro day.
So
Yeah,
also it's combine first, then pro day,
right,
basically.
right.
So the combine is gonna basically happen pretty soon because you said it's in Indianapolis.
It is.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, then that's cool then. I
Yeah.
really didn't even know that. So like with the with pro day, is it kind of set up to where granted it is showing athletes exposure and stuff? Do they have like interviews too? Like kind of like at the combine or no, not really?
Yes. That's why the scouts are coming. If they see somebody they want to talk to, they'll pull them to the side, interview them. I'm sure they have interview rooms set up in case that needs to happen. It won't be the same as the scale of the combine,
Okay.
but it will be opportunities for players to engage with scouts.
Mm,
Uh, they'll have lifting stations where they'll do you have certain exercises, certain rep combinations, certain weights. So,
okay.
for instance, at the combine, they measure bench press.
Okay.
The amount is 225 pounds, and they want to see how many reps you can do. And they have, serious controls on what that rep should look like, a proper rep. Somebody standing there counting them for official purposes. Then they do the vertical. They
Okay.
do they do the cone shuffle. They do broad jumps. They do 40 times. They'll do passing drills, and they'll do linemen, both offensive and defensive drills, depending on who's there. Um, and they have to do all those things. All those things provide measurables. They'll be weighed, their height will be taken, all of that will be done. So it's a big deal.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a big deal here at JSU. So hopefully, I don't really know about all the details. Really, I don't know if it will be open to the public. Possibly it will be, but it won't
No.
be. Okay. Okay.
No.
Because no, only reason why I said that because I was like, okay, he did say he's hosting at JSU. I'm like, well, I can't just walk around the back on the practice field. You ain't got to go through the gate, but they might close that off too.
Yeah. If you no, no, no. Because you're gonna have those players out there and they're not there to perform for the public. They're there to perform
Okay.
for a paycheck. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
for instance, you've got James Houston, who in my opinion should have received a invitation to the combine. That's a
Oh.
really big day for him.
Mm-hmm.
Keontae Hampton, who was on the bubble for receiving an invite to the combine, who I think will be a really good pro linebacker. Big day for him. Al Young, CJ Holmes.
All right.
Um,
It's a lot of
it's
players.
a lot of players just on Jackson State's team.
That should okay. Then this
Keith
will be
Corbin
great.
the third. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so all those guys from Jackson State is a big day for them. So they'll be getting showcased.
Okay. Okay.
And then, kids from Alcorn, Mississippi Valley, Delta State.
They said
Will
Millsaps, I want to believe, and Mississippi. I don't know if they Mississippi College, but I know they said it wasn't an HBCU. It was Millsaps. I want to believe though. It's a lot of schools in Mississippi though that he said he want to give an opportunity to. So that's great. Then I never really knew it was to that level, but just want to make sure. I just want y'all to know that JSU is definitely bringing some positive impacts to schools. So. Now, Dr. Irvin, you know I love to bring controversial topics, and I know you always talk about making sure you read the article correctly. So, have you heard of the new? Why are you looking like that, Dr.
go ahead, Ken.
So it's a new recently this just happened. The Winter Olympics. It was a Olympian. She is an ice skater named Camila Valvea, I want to say, but she failed a drug test December before the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a lot of controversy going on because it's with this incident, they still allowed her to compete, but with Shakari Richardson, she wasn't able to compete. Now, I will say though, when I was reading the article, she tested positive for a drug that helped. She tested positive for a drug that helped with her heart, and it's called like. I don't really want to say the
Yeah,
wrong.
don't say it. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, the United States Track and Field uh, International Committee had some bearing on what happened with Shakari Richards.
Mm,
Uh, the wherever that young lady is from, they also had some bearing on her. So it's
yeah.
actually an apples to oranges comparison. Different people. Now, if it were the same people making that decision, maybe. But I understand why it causes an uproar because it looks like disparate treatment. However, we need to be careful with that until we know absolutely all of the facts.
So in this situation, if we could it be possible, even though it happened so late, could it be possible for like Richardson to possibly sue if it is made by the same people?
I don't
Or
even want
no?
to comment on that. I
Okay,
mean,
okay, okay, okay.
it's too that's too. When you talk about international competition, they
Mhm.
have different rules anyway. It's not just to go straight to court. They have arbitration agreements that are in place. They have all types of legal remedies that are in place because the sports law encompasses so many different things, and
Mm.
you're talking about not just U.S. law, but possible international law. So I
Ah.
will stay away from that until I know everything. Nice
Well,
try though.
yes, yes, yes. It was a nice try, but I did want people to be more aware of it. It is starting to become an uproar because granted, she did test positive for the same drug for a different drug. Shakari made a statement on her tweet that both of the drugs are still non-performance enhancing drugs. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, especially black people, are still kind of like, there is a reason why, but I feel as though sometimes we do tend to not look at all of the facts in certain cases. So it does. I really didn't even know until you mentioned it how it's not the same. I thought when it was just Olympics is just the same, so the same people just still viewing the cases. But since it is an international, it does take different steps and policies and procedures to, evaluate cases. So
Right.
hopefully we will get that situated out. One of the statements that the ROC made, which is I want to believe it's the Russian Olympic Committee. They said the doping test of an athlete who tested positive does not apply to the period of the Olympic Games. At the same time, the athlete repeatedly passing doping tests before and after December 25th, 2021, including while already in Beijing during the figure skating tournament. All the results are negative. So
Yeah, I think we let them sort through that before we start, uh,
exactly,
trying to figure all that out.
exactly. And Russia is its own, U.S. and Russia. We've all had our own history, so we can't really do too much of comparing right there.
Right.
But I did also want to bring up, so last show, Dr. Irvin, when we did talk about how the JPD were making some, I don't want to say non-improvements, but we're making some stops with traffic stops that weren't really helpful. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi ACLU also had the same type of comment that you were saying. They also had sent a letter to several Jackson leaders, including the police chief James Davis and the mayor Lamumba, asking the
Mm-hmm.
police asking the police department to end its new checkpoint initiative, the TAP program, which is the
Mm-hmm.
tickets, arrest, and tow. I guess that is a new. Okay, so first, this is one question I do have for you before I kind of get into it. So,
Okay.
the Hines County Sheriff and the police chief, are they still operating under the same branch, or are they still operating for the same goal here? I really didn't know it was two different people. I'm trying to learn local politics here, so I just want to make
So,
sure.
good question. So, city, think
Mm,
municipality.
okay.
So the city has its borders, right?
Mm,
The police department is
okay.
headed by a police chief, which covers only that area, the
Uh,
city of Jackson.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Just so happens the city of Jackson is in a county, which is Hines County.
Mm,
The sheriff is responsible for every part
all right. Okay.
of Hines County.
So does that mean like the sheriff kind of can trump the police department's decision,
No,
or they're still working in
no, they're
is
two
separate?
different two
Mm,
different entities. They can work together. They can have, and they're going to bump heads at times. But the best case scenario is that they figure out a way to communicate and work together.
okay, okay. All right. So when it comes to you saying working together, so you said how sometimes they are gonna bump heads. So when it came to like the Hines County jail, even though it was when they're having issues with it, even though that is over Hines County, doesn't the Jackson Police Department issue new inmates through that county jail?
So
Is
let
what
me correct you there. Let me
okay, okay,
correct you because language is very important.
okay.
An inmate is someone who has been found guilty.
All right.
You're talking about pretrial detainees that go
Yeah,
to the sheriff's department's holding facility.
okay.
Um, so yes, they do have people in there, and they have contracts for housing purposes.
Okay, okay, okay.
So that's handled by a per bed, per person rate per day.
Okay, okay. I just want to get some clarification there.
Mhm.
But with the Mississippi ACLU, like I said, they did issue a letter out to a lot of Jackson leaders asking them to stop their new TAP program. So I guess this became in place because, as we all know, I have been reporting for a couple months now how Jackson PD has been receiving some grants, some help from federal, state level governmental officials. And so this is their TAP program, where it's tickets, arrest, and tow, where it was created to track down illegal activity happening in the capital city. They even mentioned, though, with this letter, though, the ACLU was just saying these stops is unconstitutional to set up checkpoints for the general purpose of crime control. They
Right,
also said, furthermore, checkpoints are not proven to reduce crime,
right.
which is
So let
also
me slow you down because
all
you're
right, all
reading
right,
way too fast.
all right, all right,
No,
all right.
nobody's going to be able to digest all of that.
She's speaking Gonzalez over there. Isn't she?
Right. You see you on 100 miles an hour, and people are like, "Wait, what? They did what?" So the issue is, what is the purpose of a roadblock?
Exactly.
Brother Dorch, who is the executive director of the ACLU, uh, I'm an alumni of the ACLU. I was once the legal director at the ACLU. What he's saying is, um, you may be exposing yourself to legal claims from your citizens because you're using roadblocks in the wrong way.
Okay.
You can't just jump out there and do probable cause type things uh, at a roadblock. That's not the purpose of a roadblock. You can't use a
Okay.
roadblock for uh, criminal investigation purposes. Not as your stated intent out the gate. Now,
Okay.
if something happens and you stop someone, and then you have a reasonable suspicion of A, B, C, or D,
That's
then
probable cause.
it could progress up to the level of probable cause. So what
Okay.
he's saying is cut it out because you guys know better.
Mm. Okay. So when it's with these checkpoints, are they not violating uh citizens' rights in a way? Because
That's what he's saying. That's exactly what he's saying. He's
so
saying
it
you
could lead to a civil case then.
right.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. It's good to see you, Mr. Peters.
Hey, it's good to be here. I tell you.
How
Yeah.
was your birthday?
You know what? I will admit. Look, I'm gonna be vulnerable and just admit something. I wasn't looking forward to it. Leading up to it, I was a little down about it, little kind of in my emotional context about it, and because I'm a pretty ambitious fellow, so I always got this pressure on myself of these benchmarks. And it took my daughter to put it and reshape it into the right perspective and to realize, look at what you've accomplished, look at what you have, as opposed to looking at what you have not accomplished yet. And then, you know, good friends like Dr. Irvin over there to snap me in the right frame of mind. He doesn't do it so humbly. He doesn't way with words. It's pretty bad. But no,
My job is to keep you honest.
it, it was good though. It was a good day. It was cold as I don't know what here in Dallas. And but yeah, good food. Went out your way, Kennedy. Went
Really?
right out to Kenny's Wood Fire Grill,
I know what you're
right
talking
off
about.
Tollway.
Hmm.
So yeah, had a good time, and then my
Leslie, are
daughter.
you about to cry? Are you being nostalgic about your birthday?
No, man. I'm. Listen. The only thing now that I'm just asking for, the only the good Lord can help me with is this weather, so I can actually get out of town for a few days with my beautiful wife. But you know, so we're supposed to be getting sleet and snow here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the weather has been crazy here in Mississippi as well. Yesterday, we were on a tornado watch. It was raining, then it wasn't, then it was storming, then it wasn't. It was really cloudy. The clouds were moving. I was just like, this is some, I don't know what is going on. I'm trying to walk to one of my classes. I couldn't even do that. I was trying to handle business in the business office. The wind blowing me away. Almost blowing
Yeah, it's
away my
pretty rough.
I'm just glad to be back on the show. Just talk about the technical challenges. I couldn't join you guys last week, so I just had to watch. But I'm glad. I was determined today. I was like, if I just got to go back old school, I had to pull out another computer that I put out of commission, put it back in commission to make this happen. But hey, we're gonna rock with it.
We gonna rock with it. No, yes. So we were speaking on the ACL tap. Well, ACO of Mississippi was also arguing with Jackson leaders about their new tap program. So hopefully, we'll get to some type of resolution within the city. This program isn't really, how can I say this, progressive at all. In my professional opinion, I do feel like this is another type of program where it doesn't really strengthen, but it just weakens the relationship between the public and the police, whereas and it's already isn't the best right now. So hopefully we can go to get to some resolution. Mr. Peters, I did want the public to, if you could give 'em a little recap maybe or a little snippet of your credit tip this past Thursday, because I feel like a lot of people think we just playing here. about our credit program here at Urban Law. Like we're not helping a lot of people.
Well, you know what? I just right before this call, right before the show, I just got off the phone welcoming one of our members of our program to the 700 Club,
Whoop,
and
whoop.
that's the phone calls I love to make. And and this is a person that I almost got it were in tears because they never thought they would ever be able to see a story like
Wow.
that. And if you know the journey, so I'm just telling people, it doesn't matter where you start; it matters where you're going. And if you don't ever start, you can't ever get to your destination. So call us, reach out to us. It starts with a consultation and just a phone call. We'll take a look at what you have. I'll go over it with you. I'll explain. First of all, the biggest thing is making sure you understand how to read it. You know what that means. And then breaking that down and then going through the process. I believe in changing the behavior inside and out, because if we change the behavior, we fix credit for life. Credit is just a byproduct of behavior. It's your behavior that causes the problem. So we fix the behavior. That's what we do at Urban Law. And so that means some days you hate to see me coming. Some days you don't want to talk to me. And eventually you'll love me. And that's the way if that's the process, then it's worth it.
That's all that matters, y'all. So make sure that y'all are joining our credit program. I will be able to, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link towards the end of the show. Now, one thing though, I really did want to talk about here, just to be get a little serious, but I also want y'all to understand the importance of just mental health and checking in on your kids and your family.
Yes.
We just mourned, Urban Law family definitely mourns the loss of a Murray High School student. Her name was Akira McLeenan. I had to really check up on my cousin yesterday because she actually teaches at Murray High School. She teaches mathematics. But it is just sad to say she walked out of school on Thursday. She was already having suicidal thoughts and she jumped off the interstate building. So,
Of the ramp.
ramp, yes. I mean, of the ramp. I'm sorry, not the interstate building, of the ramp. She was only 15 years old. So I just want to make sure that y'all are checking in on your kids. This is really a traumatic time. I this is my cousin's first time even dealing with this as a teacher. This is like her first year being a teacher. So being a teacher in the pandemic, but also dealing with a lot of these issues, I really just want y'all to understand that and stress that. Um, I don't.
Let me say this. Let me jump in and say this, guys. You hit me with that one, Kennedy. You really did. I want to say, check in on people. Period. I mean, listen, I don't take for granted. Like I said, I was struggling just with getting older, right? And thank God I reached out to my friends and they reshaped me back in where I needed to go. But we forgot the art of talking to people and genuinely having conversations with people. And the other thing I say to people, stop lying. Stop saying you're doing great when you know you're not. I mean, be honest. Let's get back to the real and have those conversations. And then for those of us on the other side, you know the signs, you know the normal behavior. If you recognize that something's a little off, have the conversations, right? And sometimes the difference between that split second decision is just somebody having a conversation and letting you talk it out. So, really sad to hear that. You said she was 14 or 15?
She was only 15 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy day, and especially how a lot of us JSU's, well, my peers are actually graduates of Murray High School. So it was just a lot going on. A lot of people were asking, how does she get off of campus so easily? But I don't think people realize it is easy to get off of a campus. Really any campus, not just Murray. I feel like a lot of people was putting it on Murray. It's easy to get off. It was easy to get off my high school campus in Texas. So I just really wanted to make the public aware of that. Make sure y'all understand and just stress the importance of this for sure. But yes. And also, I wanted to make sure that you guys I wanted to remind the audience to file your annual report. That's very important for a business. I know Mr. Peters and Dr. Irvin can definitely touch on that.
Yeah, definitely. We want to be early. We want to be good to go. So That's something to really think about.
Yeah, I just got. If you saw me kind of stumble, I got a text from a dear friend, Sarita. Thanks for that. That just gave me a little bit more insight. That we'll talk about after the show off air. But I mean, mm,
Willie Mae said, "My son at 17 told me that he was depressed. I blew it off. I've been suffering the consequences ever since. I didn't think that my child was going through depression because he's always been an active child. Now at 23, he's still fighting so much better." That is great to hear,
yes,
Willie Mae. That is very great to hear. I'm definitely glad for your son. I think a lot of times, especially in the Black community, we don't always. I think people don't believe that we have mental health issues sometimes because we're always supposed to take on so much and go through so much as just people, and it shows throughout time and the history that we've overcome. But sometimes it's okay to not be okay.
I couldn't have said that better myself. Sometimes it's okay to not be okay.
Yes, and he's had a lot of spiritual support. That we're glad to hear that, Willie Mae. So thank you.
Mhm.
I wanted to drop in the chat. I also just put in our the link to our Credit Corner Facebook group. So that's where you'll see a lot of Mr. Peters Credit Tip Tuesday, Credit Tip Thursday. So make sure y'all pay attention to that. I just wanted to add that in the group chat.
Yeah, go in and request a join, and one of the administrators will let you in. All of the do-it-yourself credit tip information, the live discussions we'll have to answer any question you have will happen in that private Facebook group. So definitely go over there and join so you'll get the notifications. We typically put a new tip out every Thursday. There's a video we just released this Thursday talking about collections. So definitely, and more to come. Every week we're going to be getting you information. So for
Yes.
those of you that did attend, you will also be getting those credit tips emailed to you as well, the ones that register for Credit 101 webinar.
Yes.
Mhm.
I heard they was missing some of my TikTok.
Those TikToks was off the chain. I got to tell you, I enjoyed them.
Thank you. I'm glad.
I laughed quite a bit.
No, yes, we're gonna be making a lot of more TikToks, especially when it comes to law as well, giving tips. I can't wait to include Dr. Irvin in some of my TikToks.
Well,
He's
that should be interesting.
anti-TikToker over there.
That really should be interesting right there, Kennedy. I don't know about that one, but we will see.
It's going to be a great TikTok, and Mr. Peters, as soon as I make it, I'm sending it right to you.
Yes, you do. I mean, don't, and I'm not going to hesitate to post it too. I'm going to be ready.
He's gonna enjoy it. But yes, any last things for the show, guys? I had a nice quick wanted to get it in on a Friday.
Kennedy, you know what? I'm going to tell you, this is the shortest show you've ever put together, which tells me, just because of my years of wisdom, you must be going out of town today. You got some up your sleeve because usually, Charles, she gives us this whole docket.
Yeah. Here's what I want to say before we get out of here, Liz.
Okay.
It's a holiday weekend. Let Kennedy be great. But we talk about football a whole lot. How about the JSU Lady Tigers being 26-0 at home?
Yeah, we need to talk about that. We need to take some time.
Undefeated in conference.
Slight work for them.
So we need to give them their props, and congratulations to Coach Reed. I know the journey is nowhere near over because I'm looking for them to win some games in the NCAA tournament. But I just want to give them a shout out because that team is loaded. It's one of the most talented teams you ever have the pleasure of seeing, men's or women. So get out and watch them, or order the home pass and watch them. Find a way to watch them.
Them games are entertaining.
Let me tell you, I have the home pass, and so to alumni that can't get to Jackson, be there and go see it live. I'm telling you, pay the price to watch it. It is entertainment. I mean, it is entertainment as bad as it is sports. And I want to talk about the way the ladies have won, right? Because they've been dominating, and then even when they didn't have their best game together, they found a way to win collectively. and
Yes.
they're young, and they still have talent. They can't even play yet. And then I watched the last game where they came in the fourth period and played all freshmen and still maintained the lead.
Yes.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. She will tell you the journey wasn't easy. A lot of people wanted her out at the first year as she was changing the culture. And it
Wow.
kind of reminds me of credit. Like people really hate me at first because when you're trying to change the behavior, people resist you because they've been doing it wrong all their life, and now you're trying to get them to change the way they think about it. But look at them now when they get to the other side, and that's what she has done as building a program. And I'm just going to say to the people, all alumni, all friends and supporters of the program, we've got to tune our eyes and find a way to try to keep Coach Reed here in Tigerland because she's hot right now. And not
Yeah.
just us, she's hot and getting a lot of eyes from a lot of other people. We got to make sure she knows that that she's loved by us, and that not just by our mouth, but also by our resources. So just want to put that.
Yes. She definitely has because she was here before I came in my freshman year in 2019, but I can definitely have seen the women's basketball team getting better every year. Like the record is literally getting better every year. The past game that I saw last Saturday against it was
FAMU.
yes, FAMU. It was just like them girls dominated. And it was almost like even when she switched it, they had a full bench to where it was like you could have, 5 different sets of subs, and they still I was like, wow, these are some NBA players. Like literally.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what did it for me was when they was driving down, and it was all freshmen on the floor at this point. And she
Exactly.
did the no look. The guard does the no look behind the pass. I was done. And let me just tell you, we almost saw our first dunk.
Yes, you
Yeah,
lost.
and she dropped the ball. I know she wanted that. I know Deja Woodard wants that one back because she's about to chunk that one down.
She was so mad. And then also when we played when the boys playing FAMU, I did want to highlight that. I was looking at the standings while at the game, and I think FAMU really thought they was gonna come in there and blow them out the park. Cause our boys were at the time 6th, 7th in the SWAC, and FAMU was 3rd in the SWAC. But our boys fought through. So that was really a good game. FAMU, it was fun seeing them look sad on their face. So
Well, listen, they got a tough test ahead. Both girls and boys is the last road swing in February. Alcorn this weekend in Norman. Then they come back in next weekend, next Saturday in Houston and Texas Southern.
yeah.
Monday in Prairie View. So those Texas swing is never tough, never easy. Rather, it's always tough.
So,
So we're gonna wish them support, but they continue to work.
I always have questions for you two sports fanatics. Both of you are sports
Hmm.
experts. So when it comes to the NCAA, do you have to get invited to that or not? It
Yes.
just really is based off your record regardless.
No. So there's a whole TV show devoted to that for the men and the women. So
Mm,
you have the SWAC tournament coming up. You have to make the top 8 in the conference to even qualify for the SWAC tournament.
mm.
Once that happens, then you play for the tournament championship, and the tournament champion is your representative from the SWAC. Uh, and then they get to find out on the next day whether or not they are, it's either the next day or the next day, or whether or not they're selected to the NCAA tournament and what seed they will be in. That's who you play and where you play, and whether you're a higher seed or a lower seed.
Okay, okay.
So Charles, I think you need to go a little bit deeper and give the history because how much that seed means and what we traditionally draw one seed and what we're hoping for this year.
Normally, because of strength of schedule, the SWAC gets very, very high seeds, like uh, anywhere from 13 to 16, which puts you normally playing against the number 1 team in the country.
Mm.
Which is what happened last year. So we typically, and with girls, it's always typically 15 to 16. And last year we drew the 16 seed and we played against number 1 Baylor, I believe.
Yeah, so we played against the number 1 team in the country, and that's never good.
But they did put up a good fight though against Baylor. I will say that.
It did. It
They
did.
did. So how do you avoid even trying? Can you even avoid this like picking seeds though? Can you really avoid it
The
or not?
committee picks the seed off of strength of schedule, who you played, and so
Mm.
I think Jackson State should, if everything goes the way it's going right now, they should probably be a, don't quote me on this, but they should be anywhere from a 10 to a 12 seed, maybe a 13.
I got them between 12 and 14.
Yeah.
I gotta write this down.
Well, the reason why I'm saying 10 to 13 is because right now they haven't lost since pre-conference.
Right.
And so in order for them to get into the tournament, that means they're going to win out regular season, undefeated in conference, and then they're going to win the tournament.
Yeah, so if they win out, do you know their record will end up being something like 21 or 22 and 6?
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm counting to. Plus, even though we lost some of those games, we played Miami to a 6-point game or 7-point game.
We did.
4-point game. Arkansas, 2-point game.
Yeah. Texas A&M.
Real close to Texas A&M.
Yeah. So even though we lost, those things will factor in too. Because we played a pretty good, not pretty good, we played an excellent out-of-conference schedule, and we didn't play bad.
Well, here's what I believe. If we get, especially if we get a 10 to 12 seed, but if we get a 10 to 12 seed, we winning in the first round. You got to upset in the first round.
No, if we win, if we
that's my record.
If we get anywhere from a 10 to 12 seed, we're going 2 to 3 rounds deep. It's not just a win in the first round. They're not built just to win in the first round.
Well, if you get 10 to 12 seed and you go 3 rounds deep, you sweet 16.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna have to keep this in. So you feel like, so Mr. Peter feel like it's 1 round.
Mm-hmm.
Are you agreeing with Dr. Irvin?
No, I just feel like they're not going to do right necessarily, guys. I think they'll give us, I think we'll be 13, 14 seed. I hope we get what y'all say. I hope we get 10 to 12 seed. And I'm telling you, if we get 10 to 12 seed, I agree with y'all. We might be in the Sweet 16 as a Cinderella story. And
it's Jackson State's year. It's Jackson State on everything. Buses, planes, trains, automobiles. It's probably Jackson State on some little baby's forehead. So what makes you think that Jackson State women's basketball is having a renaissance? We are loaded from tip to stern. We have size. We have experience. So you got to think about this. I know I'm running you long, Kennedy. I'm sorry. But Amisha and Rogan are not even supposed to be here.
That's true.
They were supposed to be gone last year, but they got a COVID relief year. So thank you.
And they came back.
Right. So that means we brought in talent and we kept our 2 best players.
Very true. And also, just to add on to Jackson State's year, spring ball is coming up, and I'm really excited. I had to ask one of my fellow pre-law members. He's also on the team, so he said it's going to be up pretty soon. Hopefully, that is open to the public. Don't quote me on that.
Spring is always
good.
Spring is always open. That's when you showcase your new players and what have you. The question is going to be, where's the game going to be? Because in the past, the game was normally right there at the practice field.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we have the capacity to fit the number of people that want to see that game.
Because
this spring game will be in Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be at Memorial, and you're going to sell tickets and make money for the program.
Yep.
Hopefully, I just pray I can see it. Shoot, I don't know because I haven't had a spring semester yet.
Well, it might be interesting because I think I can see them even splitting the bands and them battling each other, because they're going to pick sides. Because, in the spring game, you got 2 different teams. They probably do blue team white, because they're playing against each other.
Okay. We'll definitely see. It's a lot of new talent, like y'all were saying. I've been seeing them a lot when I go to the Payton. A lot of football players. There's some new faces. A lot of new faces. So It definitely is. And a lot of them at the basketball games too. So we'll definitely see about that. But other than that, Irvin Law, make sure y'all tell Mr. Peters happy belated birthday in the chat. Dr. Irvin, your hectic week has come to an end. So make sure you get some rest.
Oh no, Doc, it hadn't come to an end. I got something to tell you after we go out there.
All right, well, hustle up. Everybody have a great weekend.
Bye, y'all. Have a great weekend. Be safe and wear your mask.